Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to my channel. So today, as the title says, we're going to do a little bit of tea time, gossip, talking about book drama, well, what I consider to be a bit of drama anyway. Haven't done this in a while. I usually try to stay out of everything. In fact, I mean, even if we're going to talk about it, I'm not going to get like in the middle of anything. I'm going to commentate on some things that I've seen. But this last time I teeny tiny tipped my toe into something and I'm reminded why I don't give a shit what people outside of my bubble care about on the internet, because I want to be clear. I obviously care what some people on the internet think of me, or I wouldn't be doing this. You know, there's always a little bit of you that's a tiny bit of a narcissist if you make videos. I mean, you have to be, because the amount of self-reflection you have to do when you stare at yourself for hours and hours and hours, not only in your, view of yourself, but also when you're editing yourself. So, I think I'm pretty fine, I'm like not too mad about it, right? But obviously part of me wants people to hear me talk, right? So I would be delusional if I pretend that like I just don't care about any of it, because that's not true. I just have found that I have the best peace of mind when I save a lot of those, gossipy things and nitpickings for just my friends and my private life, right? Because while there is truly no way to not piss off anyone, because someone's always going to not like you and someone's always going to want to do this or that or whatever, I really just care about how I sleep at night. And that means keeping as much of a, using safe space has become such a cliche and people don't, like that I say that, but I am the book refuge and I do want there to be a place where people can go and not have to get dragged into things that they don't want to. But there are some dramas that pull their way into specifically the romance drama, like not the books as a whole, but someone gets loud about it or tries to diss romance readers and it brings up all this ugliness that I feel that I have a right to comment on, because it's literally my bread and butter, my business, what pays my bills is romance novels. So I don't have a lot of patience for people being assholes about it. But I also then feel just like angry enough to want to talk about it. So this isn't going to just be about that, but there definitely will be a part where we're going to get sassy about some of those things. So definitely get your tea, put on your makeup while you listen, all those good things. I actually have some iced tea today. I know it is bitterly cold today. It is the coldest day we've had this winter so far. It is MLK Day, and I'm going to be going to hang out with my friends who don't have to work today. And of course, it is literally the coldest day we've had, and it's the day that I have to leave my house. But I want to see people and be around people, and so I'm gonna film this video, get that done, and then I'm gonna bundle myself up and go over and play Clank, and what else do we love to play? We love to play Seven Wonders, and we play Catan, like all those things, and we're just going to spend the whole day doing that, and that's going to be amazing. But first, I need to film a video for you guys. So what did I do? I put up, of course, a post on both my... Well, I created an anonymous Google form this time around. So instead of using, like, there's some apps you can use to do this or whatever. But I put up a post on my community tab and my Instagram story and on my Patreon with the form, and allowed people to put in if they had. I said I'm going to film. Sorry, I'll bring the computer up here because we're going to use that. I have all this stuff on here. I said it's been a wild few weeks of 2025 and I'm feeling spicy. Hit me up with your questions, thoughts, or tea time topics that you want me to discuss. So we're going to cover all of those. Now, I don't have this grouped in anything. There are 20 responses that I got here, as well as 2 people didn't care whether they were like private or not, and so they just left me comments on video. So we're going to go through all of these. Some of them I have more to say about than others, but we're going to go through all 22 of these. Some of them lumped together. For the most part, I haven't looked ahead. There's only one that when I saw it was asked, I had to do a tiny bit of research, but otherwise I'm just going to react to them to you and we'll go through it. And we'll see how sassy Jen gets. And if it gets more intense than I want to handle, I'm just going to take my drink and move on, right? But let's go ahead and dive into this. Okay, let's get in here. So, question such thing number 1 says, thoughts on the wave of indie authors lately. It seems like everyone and their mother is publishing, and the standard for what gets published is getting lower and lower thanks to everyone being able to pop a book on Amazon. Wow, that is a rat's nest right there. I don't know what is being referred to with that, of like thoughts on the wave of indie authors lately, because by lately, I'm also not sure what you mean, because I don't know, it's been about 10 years plus that indie books have been on the scene. I mean, of course it's been longer than that, but I feel that, in my opinion, a lot of that is in line with, you know, when people were stuck at home from the pandemic, or people lost their jobs, or people quit jobs because they didn't like certain things going on in the workplace. And, you know, now let's say you're stuck at home and you maybe have some time to start working on this story, or you've had one that you've just always wanted to. And as you see other people in your community be brave enough to do it, you get more brave to do it. And in my opinion, you can find an audience for pretty much any story, even the ones I personally don't agree with the story. Someone, you can find it somewhere, right? So to me, that means like, yeah, anybody can do it. But to say it as like the what gets published is lower and lower, I think it's more about the fact that the authors who are publishing have social medias and use their social media as the main marketing thing. And I say that because, y'all, there's always been absolute bottom-feeding garbage on Amazon. And I'm not referring to all indie publishers doing this, but there always has existed. And this is going to lead into a topic that nobody here asked me about, but I have some anger to share about it that I will. There have always been people just throwing up books that are absolutely vile, that don't even make sense, that are between 20 to 50 pages of just not even like sexy smut, just weird, creepy, fetishized things that shouldn't be fetishized. And I'm a no judgment person, but there are some things that aren't kink. They are fetishization of certain groups of people and things, and it's icky. It's icky to me. That has always been on Amazon since people have been able to publish through them. So my thoughts on it are, it's to be expected. And with Amazon being so supportive of AI, it's just going to keep like happening, because they're not vetting out AI authors or turning that away. They think it's perfectly acceptable. In fact, it's like practically in their terms of service that they want it there. So my thoughts are that I'm glad that the barrier to entry is low. Okay, I personally am. That's my thoughts on it. And whether we want to say the standard is getting lower and lower, well, the thing is, with indie publishing, there isn't a standard at all. Like, there isn't a standard at all. And what I think is beautiful about that, in a way, is that by people being able to indie publish, maybe it's not perfect, but you get a book that goes wild. And of course, we're going to talk about TikTok on, like, of course we're going to get to that in this T-Type video, but I have to bring it into the conversation here to say, like, that social media, as well as Instagram, as well as whatever, but let's be honest, it's TikTok that really, really did this. It used to happen before, but it was a much more rare that a book would break through like that. And in my opinion, it revitalized a part of the publishing industry that really was slowly dying. And they found a way to revitalize it by finding authors that, you know, were a diamond in the rough sometimes, and people already loved them, and they could polish it a little bit and make that author a superstar. And I think that's great. And a lot of the books that it's happening with, yes, I don't love them all. I wish there was some of the more thought-provoking ones that made it there. But that's just personal preference. I personally think it is a great thing. There are side effects of it that aren't so great. And again, there's a few topics I think we'll get to with those. But overall, I think it's a great thing, because now there are those authors that we love that have worked their tushies off for ages. It isn't always well-established authors it happens for, but there are authors who've worked their tushies off for ages who are getting now the support, the money, the accolades that they deserve because social media got a hold of them and blew them up. And now a publisher is like, we'd be stupid to ignore this, right? Like, we can think of tons all at once. Like, the current author I'm most excited for this for is Juliet Cross. That woman has been writing for decades, and I love her stories. They're so deeply in me, and she's getting a second chance at like a truly being published out there, and her books are in Waterstones and Blackwell's and Barnes and Nobles, and that wouldn't have happened without social media and without the right person reading a book and talking about it, right? Anyway, we're going around and around about this. So my thoughts on the waves of it is I think it's good. And I think that what's it called? Like, the wheat will get separated from the shaft. The cream will rise to the top. Like, yes, there are some books that make it very high up that I don't understand why they do. But just because I don't understand it doesn't mean that those authors and the fans of those authors don't deserve that to be happening to them. And just like with anything else, there are a million books to choose from. If the ones that you've come across make you feel like it's, losing quality, you just got to look for them. You really, truly do. That is my answer whenever, honestly, I see and I agree in some sense too. There's been waves going around where people are saying spice is taking over or this is taking over. Well, yes, but it's a phase. Even with historical romances not being as well loved, like, it's a phase. And when people start to be like, notice it and be upset by it and start buying those books and talking about those books or whatever, then the wave will go up again, right? Like, to me, it is as plain as day, as simple to see. And though it can be frustrating when you're in the lull of that thing, or let's say it's at the peak of the just writing for spice and it's bothering you, number one, you're responsible with your money. So you yourself can't just rely on what is Amazon putting in front of me. You got to be willing to look for them, right? And when you find them and you buy them and you support that author, you make them feel like they're going to keep writing, and, you're purchasing their things, like, that's leading to it continuing, right? So anyway, we're only on the first question. I've been 12 minutes in, but I think some of the other questions we'll get to will fold into this one and we'll go there. So my general thoughts on this are, yes, there are times where I feel frustrated that I think the quality is lower, and I'm upset with certain books that are getting popular. However, I fully believe that I am capable of searching out the books that I want to read and passing those on to my followers and using my voice to give attention to the books that I think are most worth it, and being willing to go against the grain and not just read what's popular. And that leads to other books getting attention and getting popular. Like, there's a few authors that I'm watching right now that I'm very happy to just keep pushing and talking about them, because I believe fully that they're on the cusp of it happening for them. And again, some of these topics we're going to get into what the pitfalls and the side effects are of that happening for authors. But on the whole, I think it is a fantastic thing. And any of the negatives that come from it, I will gladly deal with them, because I've just seen it explode, and there are good and bad things for that. So, okay, we got to move on. I don't even know if that was coherent, but my thoughts on it are, it is mostly a good thing. Next one. How fierce is the competition on BookTube for viewers and subscribers? It seems like new content creators crop up all the time. So this was a very interesting one, or is a very interesting one to me, because I don't really notice it. And I've shared this before on tea videos. I watch about 3 to 5 to 10. It depends on my mood, but I watch, let me just think of it this way. For all the favorites videos that were coming out, there's about 10 romance booktubers that I was excited to see what their top 10s were, because I know we read a lot of the same thing. I knew I was going to get some good recommendations from them, and so I watched their videos to see where we aligned and where we were different, and I put some books on my list based on those, right? There are lots of romance booktubers that I support them, and I try to pop into their videos when I can, leave a heart, leave a comment when I can, so that they are like seeing that sorry, I feel like such an ass saying that a bigger creator, a creator bigger than them. Let me just say that, because that's relative, right? There are plenty who are bigger than me, but that they see that there's someone watching them, because I know how much it meant to me when someone like Murphy commented on my video and I knew she watched it, right? Way back when in the day, you know, that meant so much to me. And I know that I don't do that as much as I could. And it's part of the thing why I am working on a project. I'll spoil this. A while ago, I put up a post on my community page. So I'll actually put this out here, because if you didn't see this post, you can go back to my community page and scroll back, asking for romance booktubers who were like 5 to 10,000 subs or less, because I want to put together a big video with a ton in them. So I've been asking for them. I have about 40 suggestions already, which is great. I want to get some more, because then what I need to do is I do want to go and watch between 5 to 10 videos for those creators, because the thing I don't want to do is start saying, oh, I love this person, when I watched one single video they did, and then find out that either maybe I don't agree with the way that they do things, or maybe if they're shit. Like, I just don't know that. I trust that you guys are recommending great romance booktubers to me, but I also don't want to, you know, share about them on my channel and then find out something else. You know what I mean? So I just want to vet just slightly. Not that anyone, and it won't have to do, they don't have to hit a threshold, they don't have to be at a whatever. I just want to make sure that when Jen says, I really support this creator, go check them out, that they're people I actually mean it about, right? I'm not just here to BS and pass that on to you. I want to genuinely feel that way. And I know that the creators I end up putting in that video will appreciate it more, because they'll know when I say I watched videos of all of you and I'm recommending you, because I know what that meant to me. So how fierce is the competition? So this is difficult too for me, because I very pointedly quite a while ago, and this wasn't in protest of anyone else, this wasn't against anyone else, I, for the last 3 to 4 years, I'd have to look, have very specifically chosen my path, and that is to be very, very niche within even romance booktube, right? Being willing to talk about the darker things, the taboo things, the oddly specific things, not worrying so much about reading the most popular books. It doesn't mean I don't, because some of the most popular authors, I love them, so I'm not going to not talk about them because they're popular. But I am very specifically focused on really narrowing down my niche. And in that sense, I don't feel that I really have to like compete with other people. And I truly mean that. It's not a like, oh, I'm too above to do it. Do I still check to see what everyone else is reading and talking about and what's popular? Yes, I do. Do I always pull that into mine? No, because I don't care. And I know that a lot of my audience, you told me that you like that I'm not talking about the same things as everyone else, right? So I very calculatedly, and specifically my like business plan, like just to be raw and open, my business plan is to be as different and as niche as possible, so that when someone wants to look up, I'll just say, when someone wants to look up romances with squirting or squirting kink or whatever, there's only one person they can come to. Me. Whether that's a good thing or not, leave it up to you, but I made that path for myself, and I'm happy about it, because I know that sometimes I want to be able to look up just that one thing and not just get the Goodreads list that has these really odd niche books that are, you know, monster kink, and maybe don't want that. Like, I want to provide the most like complex layering of that I can. So in that sense, to, you know, bring that back home there for me, in that sense, I don't really have to compete in the same way like that, if that makes sense. Because there's nobody else fully doing that. I mean, that I see, because I look up my video titles sometimes and I see if there's other people doing it, not only because to see like, okay, I'm still the only one who's made this type of video, or I should make another one of these because I'm the only one who's made one of them, but to see if there's other creators who I will want to watch because they are making those videos too. Like, I would love for there to be other people making these oddly specific ones and talking about those things, but I know it takes a special person to be willing to, I mean, I don't do it with a straight face. I definitely blush the hell out of myself in it. I still feel goofy, but to just straight up say you're doing a video that has anal recommendations. And if you're me, I've made 3 of those by now. Like, not everyone's going to want to just with a straight face say that. But when you're looking for one of those, you're going to be happy you can come to me, right? So, wow, we're only on question 2. Wowie, wow, wow. This is just an easy one. We'll just do a reaction to this one because I know there's more discussion about book covers. This person's comment was just like, for the love of all things, please get rid of cartoon covers. And my reaction to that is, I completely understand what you mean. And I agree. I will say I've come around to some illustrated covers. I have. I think that we lump cartoon and illustrated together when cartoon is different. I know I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of that, but a cartoon is supposed to be like caricatures of people, right? So, you know, think of like what The Simpson is, or like what, what's his name? Snoopy is. Like, those are cartoons. Animated covers or illustrated covers are not quite the same as cartoon. I think we just call them cartoon now as almost a diminutive, but there are some great illustrated covers out there now. And I think that the trend in that has been better and better. I mean, think of, where is it even? Like, this book that we'll definitely get back around to in this video. Like, someone wants to call this a cartoon cover that is, looks like it's for kids. Okay, for children. Well, I don't know what children look like to some people, but very clearly this cover tells us a lot about what's in the book, right? These are realistic looking characters. We know they both skate, they have hockeys on. We know we have Maple Hills, it's in the country. She's wearing a figure skating outfit, and he has on a uniform that says it's college. So I at least know that this is a college age thing. Now, someone might look at that and say, oh, it's a cartoon, it should be for children. I'm like, I look at it and I don't see that. Granted, I've been looking at a lot of romance, and I know this isn't the only example, but I'm just pulling this up because, not only because of the drama that went around with this book in this last week or so, but also because I think the person interpreting that doesn't know what they're seeing. And sure, you could say this is a cartoon, but it's not. These are pretty realistic looking for being illustrated. We know that she's a figure skater. We know that he's a hockey player, probably for a college based on that. So right away, it's telling me their minimum age is 18. So yeah, that might still feel too young to some people, but this isn't telegraphing child, you know? Like, this isn't telegraphing child to me, right? But for a while there, I didn't really like a lot of the covers. I think a lot of them, at least like sports romance and stuff, have really moved more towards the illustrated cover. That's a bit of a better representation. I think there can be a lot of positive with illustrated to have diverse covers on books. I think that's wonderful. But yeah, I mean, am I going to say that I prefer those over people covers? No. I'm not ever going to say that. I will 99% of the time want here's the example. I will want this over this. But we've had that discussion 100 times. We won't have that one in here. I'll maybe include a tea video where we get into that, because I know we talk about that in another one. And someone might have even asked about, I mean, we still have a lot of questions to go, but I'm always going to prefer this. I am. I'm going to want this because I don't have any reason to be shy about what I'm reading. I'm not worried about anyone seeing it. I wouldn't be ashamed to buy that in a store. I'm proud to have them displayed on my shelves, no matter who's coming over or whatever. But I don't take my, feeling on that or where I'm at and put it onto anyone else and say that they need to wear that and that how dare you not be proud or whatever about it. Some people just don't take it as seriously as I do either, right? Like, it's not a statement to them. They just want an aesthetically pleasing book. Maybe they don't like the eyes of scary Killian staring out at them, right? But this question was author/reviewer tensions. That's just what the topic was, they said. So that's kind of interesting. So one of the things I have pulled up here too, to like scroll through, is I do have Threads pulled up on my laptop right now, because Threads, in my opinion, is where a lot of the author-reader tensions come in. Because like, that is where I've seen the most like authors behaving badly lately, has been on book threads. It's the new like Twitter for them. It's the new this or whatever. And people have just gotten so crazy about it. And it's just, in my opinion, authors need to be careful. I'm not telling them they can't, because boy, you have your free speech. Ma'am, you have your free speech. You can say whatever you want. But I just want you to remember, you're not in a private group chat with your friends when you post certain bad takes. Like, an example to not like suck everything in there is, I think authors need to be more careful about making either, I don't even want to bring this up because it's not where this video is going to go, but I will say it, like making hard and fast political statements, which again, you are allowed to do. I want you to do what you want. I just want authors to remember that if they choose that route, like, there are people who will be turned off by it, right? I very specifically keep that away from my videos. I've received criticism of that through the years, but I've received much more praise and thanks from you, the viewers, that I don't go that way, right? And again, that's not to push that onto authors, but I think it's a good example of the fact that you can still be political in your reading about what you're spending your money on and about what you agree with and you want to support that. But you can also take it too far where you start bashing people that you don't know their life situation. You don't know why they feel a certain way, and they don't owe it to you to get into all the details about that with you online. But when an author makes bold statements, and I'm not even making those statements, I'm not even going to use an example of it. You can use your imagination. You, as the viewer of this video, can decide which statements you see from authors that upset you, which statements from booktubers you see that upset you, and you know which people you've been turned off by. And again, on either side, I hate having to make that qualification because it's not even a black or white or two sides. It's a like anyone's varying opinion. If you make a bold opinion statement and people don't agree with it, or you make that statement and then you say this, this, and this, if you don't agree, unfollow me, you're going to have people who listen to you, right? You're going to have people who listen to you. So to me, that's where I felt a lot of tensions is author. And again, now we'll use an example that's not that. There was this supposedly new author who made a comment about something that is going to be one of our other topics of this video, about how they don't see any problem with people using AI for this, or whatever, and you're being delusional if you think that they need to, like there is this, or whatever. And this aspiring author, as he is, puts that up on Threads like he has such a great take, and Threads right now, man, will grab stuff and shake it like a dog with a bone, right? So I first saw this guy's take because Jay Kristoff reshared it, right? And he was like, it just makes you a shitty human if you think that, like, you know, computer work is better than what human, whatever his comment was. Now, I would have never seen that original guy's post, but he made that post. And once you do, the way that Threads does it is now you see the comments that people say on other people's reposts about you. So it just ends up with this, like, we'll get into that. It's one of my things to talk about. But I just think that authors need to be careful with it. So that's more what I have to say. Like, the discussion of author-reviewer tension. Some authors are just always going to say, and also this says reviewer tensions too. I should bring that part of it into it, because there's also the back and forth of, like, if you're on ARC teams, don't review my book lower than this before you post it. And I believe I've talked on this before because I am someone who follows that. And people want to say, like, how dare you say what I can say, blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the thing. When you sign up for an ARC through like an author or PR company, they ask you to sign their disclaimer. And their disclaimer usually says, by clicking this box, you are agreeing that if you DNF this book or you want to rate it 3 or less stars, you are agreeing to hold that review for 2 weeks. That is a little mini contract you're going in with them, because when you sign up for an ARC, you're signing up for the promotion of the book. So if you read the book and you hate it, then they don't want you promoting the book, because you would be de-promoting the book. They are not saying you are not allowed to share your opinion. They're asking you to hold it past the rush of reviews so that their book has a good chance in the beginning. Now, if you don't want to do that, because you just think that's completely a line you don't want to cross, and that is completely okay, by the way, I'm not judging that person, but I'm telling you that maybe you shouldn't read ARCs then. If when you read a book, you immediately want to share your opinions, whatever they may be, raw, open, whatever, maybe don't read ARCs, because that's the mini contract you're getting into with the person or the PR company, that you don't have to change your opinion. Just hold it for a little bit. Now, at the very end of the day, they can't stop you from doing that. And by all means, if you read that book and there's something that truly upsets you, they didn't warn you about certain things, you really need to get that out there to people. Like, what can they do? They're not going to delete your review, but you do run the risk of them deciding like, okay, we know this person is going to do that. We don't want to choose them next time. That's why they ask for your Goodreads and Instagram, right? I know some places, they just want to make sure you read the same books with them. They don't necessarily look up what your reviews are. But authors who you've reviewed multiple books for them, they are going to look and see if you're a good fit. Does that mean they're culling their reviewers? Maybe a little bit, yeah. But the marketing of the book is the job part of it. They're not excluding you from reading your book. They're just saying, they're not going to offer you that free copy in exchange for your review. You're free to read it and review it on your own dime, on your own time. Why would authors be, providing a free service for you if you're just going to slap them in the face every time, right? So anyway, I know there's some people's debate about this and it gets into it, but to me, it's pretty simple. Let me get into the things I don't think authors are allowed to ask though. Let's do that, because it isn't one-sided. Like, I don't think authors have a right to like harass people about their reviews. I do think when you hand out ARCs and people sign up for them, sometimes there's a problem with people actually like reviewing the book, whether or not they're like turning it in, right? Because an example, there was an author I saw, they had said they sent out 115 books for ARCs to be reviewed, and within the first week of release they'd only had 10 reviews posted. Okay, now there's just no way that many of the people were holding their review. What it means is some people ended up not getting around to the book, which you're gonna have happen. There may be some people who are holding a review because they didn't like it, if you're an author who asks people to hold it, right? But for the most part, it's people not reading it. They ask for the ARC, and to be honest, like, I do that. Like, I definitely have done that. And I'm very, like, annoyed with myself when I do. It's why I'm trying to pull back how many ARCs I sign up for. But you see that, like, all those people who sign up for that ARC and don't turn it in and don't even tell the author why, they're going to feel pretty disillusioned with ARC readers and not be sure if it was a good thing or not, right? Things absolutely come up. And this is where, again, I'm saying authors shouldn't do. I don't think they should harass them for reviews. I don't think they should be upset if someone lets them know that they can't. I don't think that when someone does review that book, even if they've said they wouldn't review it, if, let's say your thing is, please don't do a 2 or a 1-star review. They say just review it if it's 3 stars and up. Otherwise, wait. Even if that person does your 1-star review, it's not your place to harass them. If you don't like that they did that, if you think they are tanking your review, then you make a mark by their name in your sheet or have your PA do it to know that next time they're not getting an ARC. Now, people want to say that's punishment, but it's just truth. Like, would you be like giving away things people are going to slap you with? That person has the right to review the book however they want. but you have the right to decide if you will hand them one next time, right? And this is where I think it gets sticky and people get very like entitled about it, but it's just true. If they trusted you with that book the first time and it didn't work, and let's say you not only didn't like it, but you were cruel about it, right? Because maybe you didn't like it and you gave it 2 stars, but you were like, this just wasn't for me, 2 stars, okay? That's different than doing a full scale, like this writing was shit, I hated this stuff, this character was a rapist. Like, let's say you just do that. Well, why would you pick that person next time, right? Because either your style doesn't match or whatever. So anyway, I have a lot of feelings about this. As someone who I feel like I have a good ground to say, because last year I read 230 arcs, was it? 230 arcs. I've dealt with indie authors, with big publishers, with small publishers, with PR companies. I've worked with over, I think, 15 different PR companies. So I've seen it all, okay? And them's are the breaks. Like, being an ARC reader has so many benefits, but it does have some annoying parts too, and all of those things. For an author, I think you get to have control over who you hand out an ARC to, but once you do that, I think it's out of your hands, and you need to leave it that way. That is where my thing is, and why I think tensions come in place. Because you have small authors who maybe have sent their book to a big booktuber. I am devastated with myself how many small authors have sent me their books that I didn't get around to them. Both authors who sent them as a surprise to me, which I don't hold as much, like, I don't hold guilt over those because it's not my fault. Or authors that I've asked for who are new and I didn't get to them. I do feel extremely bad when that happens. And it's why, like, this year I have not a huge list, but I have a list of those that my goal is to get to them, either for the book they sent me or read a different book by theirs, right? I feel very guilty about that. Because I'm in control of how many arcs that I ask for. I am. And I get a little bit giddy about it and very happy about it, right? It's very fun to get to read a book early if you want to. What I don't like is when authors act like we owe them something because they did offer it. Like, and I don't mean like owing the review. I mean owing like a glowing review or owing like all of this publicity or whatever. I don't think you can demand that, right? I don't think you can. And do people say that's unfair to authors? Well, sure, but that's the risk you're taking. It is, because the payoff of that for you can be very, very high. That's why you take those risks. That's why you take the kicks in the teeth in the beginning and you take the rejections, because you have a story that you want to get in people's hands so badly. And if you're not someone who wants to deal with that, I'm not saying you shouldn't write. No, keep writing. But I'm saying, like, maybe divorce yourself from the reader interactions a little bit if that hurts you, you know? I know plenty of my author friends who they either are, you know, they're well off enough to have a PA to do that, or they do their PR, they do that, but they don't really let anything touch them, right? So yes, there are always going to be author and reviewer tensions. The other side's always going to think someone's doing it wrong. Other readers think other readers are doing it wrong, other whatever, do it wrong. To me, the etiquette is simple. I signed up for the book I want. My mini contract with them is usually that I'll read the book, review the book, and share that review somehow, whether it's on a social media post, Goodreads, Amazon, whatever they're asking for. That is all the work that I owe an author for it, right? And when I sign up for an ARC, me, myself, and I, no matter like what's in their terms or whatever, that's what I'm trying to promise to the person that I sign up for this for, with the PR company, whatever. That's me. That's how I think about it. So that's what I know, what the work I'm committing to, right? I'm probably committing to about 5 to 6 hours of work for each ARC I've signed up for, right? Between the reading it, the reviewing it, the posting about it, talking about it in a video. That's what I think of when I sign up for a book, right? And yeah, people don't have to think of it as a job, because it's not. And ARC reading isn't even my job, right? I'm paid by my viewers to make videos, not even necessarily to read the books, right? Well, there's a few, right? On Patreon specifically, I'm paid to read some books, but I'm not paid to read ARCs. I would never be paid to read an ARC, okay? The only ARCs I'm currently paid to read are the ones coming from Claire Kent / Noelle Adams, and I'm not going to review those for you because I'm reading them as her content helper. Those are the only ARCs I'm paid to read, right? And I won't be reviewing them for you guys in that way, right? Because like, I'm not being paid for my review, I'm being paid to read it, right? So anyway, here's a quick one. Books that would make a good movie or series despite if they're famous or not. We'll do this one quickly. What do I want to do? Let me think. Ones that would be really fun. I mean, honestly, some fantasy ones to me I think would be better, because a lot of the like sexy ones I read, I don't actually want to see them as movies. I know some people feel different, but it's part of the reason why I don't like watch passion flicks, is because I'm one of the people that I fully realize that the stuff that I love is cringy and cheesy in a lot of aspects. Okay, it is. I own it. I wear it as a badge of happiness. It's true, a lot of the things I like are like that. But some I think could be fun. I do think that the Chestnut Springs series could be fun as like a TV show. It reminds me a little bit of Heartland, but make it a little bit saucier. Okay, could be fun. I really think that I would love to see one of the Mafia series actually be it, right? Like, granted, you'd probably need to take out some of the dark, sexy parts of it. But, and I'm not just saying this because I love her so dearly. I truly, truly think Kingmakers could be so fun. That could be so fun as one. Love that idea of that being one. I have for a long time, so that's nothing new. What is like a fantasy one I'd like to see? What's a fantasy one I'd like to see? I mean, Daughter of No Worlds. That would be so epic. That would be so epic. I would love to see that. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I'd love to see that. So those are some. We'll just stick with that because I gotta move fast on some of these. But that is, I would love to see some of those if that could happen. Oh my gosh, here we go. Whew. Constant belittlement of romance readers and how to defend this and ourselves. The best apps or platforms to start bookish content that isn't subject to deleting or change. So first part of this, I'll tackle the second part. Best apps to start bookish content that isn't subject to deleting or change. So to be honest, I think that's YouTube, okay? Because YouTube, in my opinion, I've had the least drama with. I know some big channels, some big stuff, they have more drama with it. I personally don't and haven't had drama with my YouTube, okay? Of all the videos I've put out, and I believe, let me see here how many. I have my content pulled up here actually because I'm going to be talking about those. Let me see. Man, I have maybe almost 2,000 videos or something like that. In all of those videos, and even with the content I talk about, right? You guys know what I talk about. I've had maybe 5 to 10 videos, and half of those are shorts because shorts were blocking stuff because of music in the beginning that have been flagged for like low demonetization, and I've never had anything straight up demonetized at all. And I talk about anal and squirting and threesomes. So the people who try, and I cuss all the time, I haven't had those things demonetized. Only when I've talked about Bellessa, because they know what Bellessa is, they will lower demonetize Bellessa because of the sex toys when they're but I'm getting paid for those ones, so I don't get those flag warnings. But part of it is I don't try to pass my content off for kids, like it's adult, and I just don't like worry about that. Like, I just haven't. So for me, YouTube's been the right space. It is slow going in a lot of ways with it because it's not the hip place that it was. Like, that's true. But I think it's great if you're looking for stable, as you said. And then I think you need to pair it with either Instagram or TikTok if you're using it or whatever, because those places are better. Sometimes, again, when those things got popular, I already had an audience, okay? I already had an audience when TikTok came out, and like I didn't like TikTok, so I left. But yes, I did get some quicker attention than others because I had an audience. Starting from scratch, I don't know what that would be like. I don't know. There's people out there who'll try to tell you what it is. But wherever you pick, my number one thing, and I still mean this, 7 years, 8 years, what's it going to be? 8 years in is this year. Make the content what you want and what you're proud of. Sprinkle in a few things that are topical that will maybe get attention drawn to you, but make 90% of your content what you're proud of. Because number one, when one of those videos that you're proud of does well, it feels way better than if you did one, I'm just using an example, with buzzwords like Taylor Swift and it gets popular, because then the people coming to you are looking for that, right? And I've seen people say that about like the shorts. I haven't had any shorts go viral or anything. They do okay. I've heard people say that if they had a short go viral for like a fun thing, that's what people are coming to your channel for, right? So that's why I say make 90% of your content what you love, and just pop into the topical if you want. Do a vlog reading a popular book. Do a video like talking about those. Do whatever. But do 90% what you want it to be. Because even though that maybe won't pull the attention quick, once someone finds you, they will be a subscriber for the life of your channel, because they like you and they like the content you do. They didn't just pop in to find out the news about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively because you had that as a thing, because that's what I was talking about, right? Like, those are definitely attention grabbers, but also you're getting a lot of trolls come to that video. Like, the videos with the nastiest comments are always the ones that go crazy, because you have people who aren't your audience and don't understand you that pop in. And that's going to lead us into talking about something else. We're going to get there right now. So anyway, the one least subject to deleting or change, I'm going to say YouTube, okay? I'm going with that one. I don't see YouTube ever getting deleted off of anything. In other social medias, I don't know. We're going to make our own video about that topic. I got to move on to some of these, because more so now I'm going to tap out at an hour. So if you want a part 2 to this, make sure you like it. Make sure you comment on some of these, because I cannot believe I've talked for an hour. Well, I can. That's a lie. This one, someone said, your general feelings on others in the same YouTube romance space. Don't mention any names. I think I kind of said this earlier, like, I don't have any comments. I don't have any bad feelings, nor, anything, like, honest. Straight to say. As I said in the beginning, I watch maybe 5 to 10 other romance booktubers at this point. All of them are either literally personal friends, or they are smaller creators that I've really liked the books they're talking about, and I've honestly gotten some good recs from people like that. I don't really follow any more of my contemporaries anymore, and that isn't because I have any tea to share. I have limited time. I haven't really been excited about a lot of the videos they're making, or they're not like reading books that I'm interested in. I still support them as like a person, but like, I'm not watching their videos anymore because I have limited time. I watch my book besties, and I watch a few of the smaller YouTubers that I'm trying to support them, and I'm interested in their content. So I know that's not the tea answer that we want to give. But I really, truly don't have anything spicy to say, because I don't pay attention. Just as I hope they're not paying attention to me, because I don't care. I am focused on what my niches are, and I wish them so well. Like, that's not a prevarication or a, hot air. Like, I truly think there's room for everyone. That kind of goes back into the other thing about, like, is there competition? Like, guys, the billions and billions and billions of views that happen on YouTube, there's room for everyone. It might not feel that way because you like feel small or you're not feeling it. But I felt that way once too. It's taken me a long time. Like, funny thing, I checked Social Blade. That's a thing you can go on to see stats and things like that. I look at it every once in a while to see what my ranking in all of YouTube is or whatever. But it will do this thing for you where, based on your growth, it will tell you how long it'll take till you hit certain milestones. I've always said that when I get to 50K, I will do a bookshelf tour. Guess what year I'm projected to hit 50K? 2028. Okay. So that will be 10 years. It will, if it takes that long, and that's only if I'm at my current growth, which is about 3,000 subscribers a year. 2,000 to 3,000 subscribers a year has been my growth rate. It will take until 2028 for me to get there. Okay. So think of that. That will have taken 10 years to get that high. It's a long haul, so there's that. Okay, there's a couple fun ones I wanted to cover. But we truly will have to, like, I will make another video if you guys like this. I'll make it in like a week from now. We'll do like a couple, because here's a couple. A few people asked if I've read certain books. So let's touch on those ones. And then there's one topic we will end with, because I prepared stuff for it. So we have to talk about it. Have you read Neva Altaj's Mafia romance series? Yes. I've read every single book Neva Altaj has written. I love her. One of her books was in my top 10 of the year. So, love her. Read every single book. Have you read Empire of Temptation? Yes, I read it and reviewed it. It is reviewed, I think, in my first week of 2025. I'll click that. I read an arc of that one. It was very good. I gave it 4.5 stars. Can you do a video with accidental pregnancy trope? I have made 3 videos and 1 short that are about surprise pregnancy, surprise baby, or accidental pregnancy. So I will link some of those. I don't know that I'll be making another video of that yet. I'm sure sometime in 2025 I will, because, you know, certain videos, once I have enough new recs, I'll make another one. So yeah, we will definitely do another one. There just won't be one right now. But again, I do have 2 or 3 already made, and I will make more when I get enough recs. Your thoughts on Romantasy? I think Romantasy is great. I don't necessarily think it needed its own title, because I think fantasy romance is enough for me. Other people will have more detailed things about what they think the difference between fantasy romance and Romantasy are. To me, it just means they're the same. I'm sorry. To me, they're the same. I'm fine with them getting their own category and getting more popularity, but it works for me, because to me, fantasy can be fantasy with a little romance in it, and that's still fantasy to me, right? When it's a fantasy romance, the romance and the fantasy are of equal importance, just like in historical romance, just like in, you know, the difference between historical romance and historical fiction, the difference between fantasy fiction and fantasy romance, it is Romantasy. Again, other people have a different thing, but to me, they're the same thing. Yeah, we're going to save that one. So this next video that I make, when I make another one, that will have the topic of the TikTok ban and reinstatement, AI covers we'll touch on, and a few other things here. So we're going to touch on the last topic here that I have for this one, because we need to cut it off. And so this question was the one I prepared for, because I also have this question. So I'm going to share it with you. This person said, how do you feel about authors changing their books to get traditionally published, especially dark romance authors like Rina Kent for God of Malice? Okay, so this was the discussion that went around, you know, when we heard that God of Malice was getting, you know, done, and that there were changes to it to make it more palatable, is what they said. And at first, I don't remember if this was in a tea video or in a book haul. I don't remember I talked about it, but I was originally a little peeved about it at the time. And I was kind of like, well, why are you picking up dark romance if you're going to change it? Like, I said that at one point at one time. So after I said that, I was like, I'll be interested to see what they changed, why, what the reason was, because personally, I couldn't think of a reason, all right, that they would pick up Rina Kent, who her entire book, all of her books are dark, and they have asshole heroes, and they have dubious consent. They have all those things. Why they would pay for her and then change stuff, which could make people very angry. Why would people then want to buy this new version? Why would that be happening, right? That was my, like, thought at the time, was like, well, that's annoying to me that they're going to change things. And why would they pick her up if they were going to change things? Then when I talked to Madison Fox, who is a author, she is also someone who works for Bloom. She's a friend of mine. We had our discussion about my beta read of her most recent release, and I use that time to always ask a few little questions. Now, there's some things I can't share with you, but one of the things I can is, well, and also it's out now, so we're going to look at it, is she had told me then, she's like, now, we didn't take anything away. She said those chapters, I couldn't remember at the time how many she said, but she's like, we added words, and we only took away like 10 words. We added, I think, like 100 or 200 words into the first 2 chapters. And she explained to me that they just made it a little more clear some of the dubious consent. Not that it is completely consensual. That isn't what got changed. And again, we'll look at it. But it was changed to be more dubious consent and less non-consent. Which, if you've read God of Malice, you know that dubious consent is what that first scene is anyway, okay? If you've read the whole book, you don't just read the beginning and throw up your hands. Like, if you read the whole book, you know that later on, Killian kind of confronts her and says, I could tell this, this, and this, or whatever. You can read the whole book to see that. So what they did is they added words to show that this was more dubious consent. So did that make it a little more palatable? Sure. Do I think that that was ruining the integrity of the story? No. And to prove it, last night I went through these two books side by side, which you guys know I have annotated this. I've sent it to many of my patrons. I opened up these two books and I compared them line for line. And I actually highlighted in here so that I could show you. The words in pink are words that have been added to the story. And the words in blue, which I mean, the words that were taken out are taken out, so you can't like see them. But I put in blue the section that had words taken out of it. And I'll show you what that section is. All other pink highlighters is added words, okay? So we're gonna go through this real quick, okay? So you can see. Nothing on those pages. These are all exactly the same as what's in there, minus punctuation, okay? All right, so there's pink section. That's added. Pink section added. Pink added. Pink added. Pink, blue, okay? Right here. In the entire first two chapters, I think there's even, is there any more pink or is that the last one? Yeah, there's some more pink here. And that's it. This is the only sentence in the entire first two chapters that was reduced. And I'm going to read you those differences so you see. But all the rest are added words that make it a bit more clear that she is a bit turned on by what's happening, okay? I'll get to what my feelings are on this in a moment, but I went through these first 30 pages line by line and highlighted what was different, not just to prove it to anyone, because I wanted to see. I was like, how much does this change it? So, example of something that gets added in is in this spot. There's a scene where she's looking at him and she says, no change occurs in his features, even as the air tousles his hair back. Even as I'm sure he feels me shaking with the need to survive. Nothing seems to have any effect on him, and it scares the shit out of me. But it's also awakening a part of me I thought only manifested in dreams. How can someone be this cold, this detached, this lifeless? Okay? So, I will put up on the screen so you see but it also awakens a part of me that I thought was in dreams. That's what was added. Everything else, exactly the same, okay? And that is consistent through this whole thing. They add in a place where she's starting to feel a bit turned on. She's still, like, not, like, into it, but it puts in the question of dubiousness a bit stronger. Now, when that is just told to you as point blank, like, oh, they changed stuff, well, of course we start to think like, oh my God, they're taking out this or whatever. It is still clearly he face fucks her on the side of a cliff, threatening to push her over if she doesn't suck his dick, okay? That still happens. There are just a few little spots where she peppers in things that like, maybe I don't want to struggle so hard. But then she's struggling so hard. There's, maybe this is having an effect on me, the way he's grabbing my hair. Like, those are added in. And I don't have a problem with it. Other people might have their opinions on it. But I'll tell you this. To me, it doesn't really sit that different than when I've compared Wolf Gone Wild, the OG, to Wolf Gone Wild, the Trad Pub. There are more eyes looking at the books now. There's more editors looking at the books now. Instead of Juliet paying for an editor, now she's paid to have her book edited and put out, right? And they didn't change any of the substance of Wolf Gone Wild. They added punctuation. They changed around like how some looked. So my point of all of this is that, how do I feel? So far, thus far, I don't mind at all. If someone can give me an example that is like as egregious as, say, parts of Mine Till Midnight being taken out of that book, then I would feel differently. The difference is that wasn't done when it went from indie published to trad pub. That was trad pub themselves evolving things that they said, right? Them adding those phrases in and editing and cleaning that up, I don't have a problem with it. I thought in the beginning that I did, but now seeing it with my own eyes, I see that it was a bit of fear-mongering about that, a bit of us dark romance readers being very protective, which I completely understand, very protective myself, but I'm not too worried about it. Now, I quickly will tell you the line that they changed, and then we have to wrap this up. Okay, so the spot that they changed is in chapter 2, when, here we go, when she bites his dick, okay? So this is in chapter 2, and in the OG, I will read you what it says. I hope there are no little ears listening to me read this. So, she has bitten down on his dick extremely hard, and she says this: maybe he really is a robot. I'm stuck with an unfeeling machine, because he doesn't flinch when she bites his cock. Use your teeth again, and I'll switch to your ass. I'll tear through your tight hole and use your blood as lube while your head hangs over the edge. There's a strain in his voice as he pushes more of his dick inside my mouth. Now fucking suck. Okay, that's what this says. Okay? Whew. All right. In here it says, maybe he really is a robot. I'm stuck with an unfeeling machine. No teeth. There's a strain in his voice as he pushes more of his dick inside my mouth. Now fucking suck. Okay? They took out the use your blood as lube. Okay? That's what they took out. Everything else was added words. Okay? Now, sure, that cooled that off a little bit. I actually don't have a problem with it. I've shared before that I hate the use your blood as lube line in any book. But our wonderful Killian has not been neutered in the way that like Cam Rohan was in Mine Till Midnight. Okay? Let's be clear. So, I hope that relieves some people's fears. Some people know. Now, do I know what's happening in all the other books? No, I haven't compared them. Do I know about the entire book? No. But we were told the changes were in the first 2 chapters, and based on what I have read of this, I believe it. At one point, I will reread the entirety of the new one and see, but there we go. So, okay, well, this got over an hour very quickly. None of y'all are surprised. I have to edit this and get it uploaded before I go to my friend's house, so I have to stop. But if enough people like this, if you like it, we'll do a part 2, and I won't wait too long, because I'll keep these questions everyone asked, the ones focused on the Call Me Chris stuff, the AI covers, the TikTok stuff. I will save all of that for that one. You can also ask more questions in this one, and maybe we'll move some of those over to that video. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Take care. I hope you look fabulous after maybe doing your makeup for an hour while talking to me. I don't know. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.